Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Nostalgia Unboxings. And I think you know what time it is. So, normally, I don't like doing two videos in a row of the same figure after the unboxing and the review in a row, but I feel like I have to redeem myself here because of the unfortunate, accident we had during the unboxing with this guy. I think it kind of tarnished a lot of my first impressions. So, I kind of felt compelled to make this video immediately, the review immediately after, to maybe kind of lighten some of that, those heavy, strong opinions that I had, and just some of that bummed outness I felt, because, after I kind of calmed down, after kind of the whole, disappointment wore off, and I took a better look at the figure and played with it a little bit, I kind of realized that, at least in my case, I got pretty lucky, as to which location my figure broke in, because really, it doesn't matter at all. Like, okay, I mean, it's broken, but it works. It's fine. It doesn't affect the transformation or anything like that. He still poses perfectly fine. It's, so it's not that big of a deal, really. But, I'm only human. You feel things when stuff like that happens. But yeah, let's get right into it. Here's the review. So, yeah, this is how he comes in the packaging, pretty much. Aside from being posed, he comes in his robot mode. I have his gun in. So, I mean, let's talk about this real quick before I take it out. I like how they've molded it so it, like, perfectly fits in there. It's almost, like, nice and flush with the way his wrist curves there with the little, whatever that is, the vent. So I think that's pretty cool. And the gun looks alright. I do think the gun looks significantly better being held in robot mode than it does in vehicle mode, and we'll kind of see that. I'm sure we saw that in the I'm sure we saw that in the unboxing, how it kind of takes away from that sleek figure that Cyclonus has in his vehicle mode. And then the other thing I should probably get into right away is the wings, because that comes mistransformed in the packaging, just a better fit in the packaging. And I was a big Dumbo and I wasn't aware of it. So I think it comes with like the wings folded backwards. I'm gonna like break something again. But anyway, this is the proper orientation for transformation. It looks much nicer than what it led to believe by how it looked when it came out. Yeah, they come out, they look pretty much just like it did in the movie. It does not interfere with his movement nearly as much as, what I kind of made it out to be when I thought that they were, like, folded inwards toward the back to kind of just, like, hide it away. No, it looks great. It is fantastic. Forgive me. That is one other thing I wanted to clear up, like, immediately. So, let's take a look at his articulation, and then we'll look at his head sculpt. So, he has fully rotatable shoulders there. We could do the whole windmill. He's got very loose elbow rotation. Well, loose on this one. I guess his left hand is extremely loose. But it is there. He has, just regular elbow rotation. I believe his wrists can spin. Yes, but it is incredibly stiff. Maybe that'll loosen up in time. So you could rotate that as well. Same thing, obviously, on the other hand. There is no difference. He has the hip swivel. Boop, boop. Pretty nice. Basic just articulation. This is a little loose. Oh, never mind. No. I guess it's a little loose forward and back, but it's not too bad on that leg. Very inconsistent. That's the weird thing about a lot of the Kingdom lines, especially in the figures that I have. It's never uniformly loose. There's always like, it'll be like one side of whatever leg is like super loose, and this side will be like incredibly like stiff and stuff like that, which is kind of weird, but what can you do? Yeah, he has the knee rotation, kind of standard. He also has, like, really funny knee articulation, which maybe you could put some use into. I don't know. This is due to his transformation. So, I mean, you could kind of get some weird movement going there if you choose to. He does have ankle tilt. Freaking by the grace of God. I think his ankles can move, especially forward like that a lot. Not so much backwards. But, hey, that's still, I think this is still very useful. I guess for like certain poses and stuff, so that's nice. That is basically it, like articulation wise. He doesn't really do much else. You don't have a lot of play features to talk about anymore in Kingdom. It is very much just a collector's posable figure versus the like proper toys that I was at least used to as a kid from Armada, where they had all the mini-con gimmicks and whatnot. So that's kind of really what I miss every time I do these. There's no like little button I can flick and have a huge gun flip out or anything like that. But we'll see. Maybe they'll bring some of that back when they bring the Armada figures back now next year in the line. So yeah, his neck rotation is awesome, by the way. We'll take a look at that before we zoom in on the head sculpt. So it goes forward and back on like this weird peg that you can see in there. And then it's also on like a proper ball joint, more or less. I mean, it is a little bit impeded going down, But he gets a lot of rotation, and I think this is amazing. It works so well for the figure. You get him to a lot of expressive like head orientations and stuff, which is pretty sweet. And oddly enough, it's not really due to his transformation. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times when you get like really crazy articulation on something that's even beyond what's normal, it's because of something usually in the transformation that calls for it. Whereas this, not so much. I guess they just really felt like giving us an awesome head and neck articulation for this guy. So let's zoom on into his pretty little face there, and not that way, but this way. And if maybe it'll focus today. There we go. And you got to see his head is freaking awesome. He doesn't have the goatee. I think he has a goatee in a lot of the G1 cartoon, but maybe it was missing in the movie if I remember. I don't know. All I know is that sometimes he has a goatee, sometimes he doesn't, and in this toy, he does not. He doesn't have his goatee. I've seen some people like paint one on and stuff, so I mean, you always have the freedom to do that, of course. But other than that, his face looks phenomenal in my opinion. I love the sculpted cheeks. You could really see all the contours and lines. It looks fantastic. He does have the red eyes, which almost look like they're light piped, but oh yeah, they are light piped just a little bit. I think I did actually mention this maybe, but maybe not. They are slightly light piped from the back there, but it's kind of hard to see. I think also it doesn't help because it's a very dark red color. Instead of, a lot of times you use a much brighter color, so maybe that affects it. Oh, you could actually kind of see it through there. Take a look at that. That is pretty sweet. There, you could definitely see it from that angle. At least I can. Very cool. I love light piping, so that is definitely a welcome bonus. So let's zoom back out. That'll be, actually, you didn't see anything. So here we go. He does have his Decepticon insignia here right on his chest, which looks pretty good. Let's actually zoom in a little bit. Bop, bop, bop. There we go. He has like these clear pieces on his chest, which I think adds like a welcome amount of detail and some other color that isn't purple, or a various shade of purple, which is pretty nice, and kind of matches his light piped eyes, which is phenomenal. He also does, of course, have his cockpit here. Well, I guess we'll take a look at that when he's transformed. But that is basically it for robot mode. I mean, we can take a closer look at his gun as well. Looks pretty neato. And yeah, I'll transform him now. Alright, and here he is in his vehicle mode, in his awesome, sleek spaceship mode there. And where do we even begin here? It looks fantastic, by the way. It looks basically exactly like it did in the movie, which is phenomenal. Only thing is, in the movie, he has like, and I think in the show too, right? His front nose piece here is like a very thin needle. Obviously, they couldn't do that in the toy, so, you know, this is kind of what they gave us. But I think it still looks alright. It still very much fits the profile, so I'm not going to complain at all. So here we get a better look at that translucent cockpit area, which looks exactly like what Galvatron was chilling in the movie. It is fantastic. You can see the gun, how the gun kind of just, you know, looks awkward, like I mentioned before, sitting on top. I really wish, so personally, what I wish would have happened is if there was a peg maybe somewhere down here, maybe between the legs, they could have made like a certain opening so you could tab it in like this to save space like that, and that would have accentuated the sleekness versus breaking it up when you put it on top like that. But I mean, yeah, I really wish they would have done that. That's probably my one complaint. I wish they could have done something like that just to hide the gun a bit better in vehicle mode. But, you know, what can you do? You could always just leave it off or peg it in somewhere. He does have like peg holes here under his wings, but I mean, you'd need a second one, right, to make that look proper. But you have options. You can do the fossilizer gimmicks and stuff as well. One thing you may notice is he does have retractable landing gear, which I feel like is a must on airplane transformers. Because it's like, I really wish they spun too, but they don't, unfortunately. But it's like when you have those car transformers where if you don't have a spinning wheel or something, like, you know, it feels like crap. Or one of the big ones that I can definitely remember is a lot of the tank transformers, how the treads don't actually move and it's just like a big chunk of plastic with a couple small wheels on the bottom of it. I mean, obviously that would be difficult to engineer into a toy, but stuff like that kind of really feels bad. It feels like something's missing from that figure. So I'm really glad that he actually does have retractable landing gear, even though I'm not sure we ever actually get a proper look at them in the movie. Maybe the show does. I haven't watched the G1 show. I'm quite young, as you may guess. So, well, actually, I mean, I'm 25, so I'm not even really that young anymore. But, yeah, I mean, don't expect me to have seen most of G1, or, you know, a lot of G1 at all in general. But I have seen the movie, and I'm like 90% sure that we do not see his landing gear very much in the movie, if at all. But it is there, so it's nice to have it when you pose it like this, you know. I guess if you hang it from a string, then you could fold it back up. It folds up real easy, all smooth like this. These ones are a bit stiff, so you got to put a little bit of force on them. This one moves very nice and smooth. So yeah, you can remove the landing gear. It looks very nice. As part of his transformation, his flaps kind of move a little bit, which is pretty cool. I wish they also were able to move up, because then you can pose him as like, you know, doing a barrel roll with both flaps like opposite directions. That would be freaking sweet. That would have been an awesome touch, but I kind of understand why they didn't do it. It would have definitely compromised the look here, because you'd have probably an extra hinge showing up here. So, you know, I can see why they didn't do it, but it's just something that would have been cool if we had gotten it. And, I mean, there's not much more to say, because, you know, it is just one stiff giant airplane that goes, you know. I mean, I guess his arms, I guess we could take a look at the engines, can't we? So he has engines here. This is where the arms flip over. I think we did see this in the unboxing, but it makes nice little engines here. I think this, I feel like this whole gimmick, though, how his hands spin around like that, looks very cool. Like, these engines look phenomenal. I love it. I love it. I love it. Like I said, this guy has one of the coolest transformations, in my opinion. I have so much fun doing it every single time. It's very unique, and, you know, I mean, I think that's always a plus. I kind of, like, I see a lot of people that collect a lot of the car transformers, like, maybe they get all the jazzes, all those variations of those molds and stuff, or all the cone heads, too. And I personally don't get that. I love having variation and transformations in my collection. So, I mean, I'm not knocking the people who do. You know, you guys have every right. I think that's awesome that you guys do enjoy doing that. But it's just my personal thing is I love having figures that all transform completely differently. So each one is like a slightly new experience in some way. Although, obviously, you know, you can't always escape the recolors with certain favorite characters and whatnot. But, yeah. I don't know if they could ever even reuse this. I mean, some people have said that I've seen is that they could probably retool this and make him into Death Charge and for a Beast Wars Death Charge by just flipping the whole build this way and have it be like a manta ray, with these being the, you know, it's like side fins, I guess was what you would call them, and then this being the tail, which I thought was pretty funny. I feel like that's very unlikely to happen, that the Death Charge would be a retool. I would personally love Death Charge to have his own brand new build. I think that would be awesome. But yeah, you can kind of see the similarity, though. It's actually pretty funny. Like, you could do a custom recolor easily and make it look like Death Charge. I think that's freaking hilarious. But yeah, I mean, that is definitely his ship mode, and it is definitely very cool. Obviously, the cockpit doesn't open because it is part of the whole transformation and all spins around. It would have been pretty cool, though, if you could, like, flip it open at least a little bit and have just one of those little square slots like you see in the Ark for when we get the tiny little figure models, so that we would have been able to stick a Galvatron in there. That would have been like, that would have put this figure above and beyond, though, because I'm sure this came out long before any of that was announced, I'm pretty sure. But, you know, if like 10 out of, like, hindsight 2020, that would have been fantastic. That would have made this figure, like, easy 10 out of 10. Right now, I think I still rate it very high, even despite, you know, the fact that mine had a little bit of a quality control error going on. But this is like a 9 out of 10 figure for me. This is one of my favorite figures by far to come out of Kingdom so far, that I have unboxed, at least. We'll see in the future when I unbox a lot more, of course. But yeah, I think that concludes my review. It is a good figure. It is a great figure. Even though I was super disappointed by the fact that mine was, like, partially broken, I still think this is a phenomenal figure. And hopefully, I mean, odds are you'll have better luck than me. I don't think what my issue is very common at all, because I haven't seen anyone else post about that specific issue regarding Cyclonus, where, like, the pin in his arm was just really messed up. So hopefully it's just a one-off thing and you guys have better luck. But this is definitely one to add to your collection, I think, especially if you're a fan of the 86 movie. It is a must. It's a must. I think also, like, I've seen what was it? I think Titan's Return had a Cyclonus. No. I think this one looks the best. I don't own the other one, unfortunately, but, like, just from the pictures I've seen, I think this one just exceeds it by far and away. This is an amazing toy. So yeah, I mean, that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Maybe you learned something. Maybe this changed your mind. Maybe, hopefully, this redeemed me from the kind of unboxing shenanigans we had. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.